don't need to bring out products to fuel the Israeli war machine. A war machine which has already slaughtered more than 400 innocent children. And the blood is on their hands just as much as it's on those who bomb the hospitals, the schools, the mosques, the ordinary civilian areas, the playgrounds. Raytheon needs to step back. Today we are in our hundreds. Now that we know where you are, we will come in our thousands unless you stop these murderous weapons now. When injustice is the law, resistance is our duty. And whatever shape that may take, we will not stop until they stop supplying the Israeli war machine with these weapons that go towards the fourth largest army in the world. And we can't wait for the London politicians to intervene. Cameron has already said, well, the bombing has stopped now, so we don't need to look at these contracts anymore. Absolute rubbish. We know that every single ceasefire has been broken, not by Hamas but by Israel. The facts are there, the journalists were there, it was plain to see, and we know that they will continue breaking ceasefires because Israel thinks it's above the law. It has ignored and violated 180 UN resolutions, more than any other country in the world today. The excuse for invading Iraq, and that worked well, didn't it, apart from WMD, was that Saddam had violated and ignored 12 UN resolutions. Israel continues to ignore international opinion, it continues to ignore everyone, and the killing will start again. You can be sure of that. But at least today we can fire a warning shot over the bow of Raytheon and tell them to stop making their murderous equipment that is being used to fuel the Israeli war machine. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. Hundreds today, thousands tomorrow. You have been warned. Thank you. Salam alaikum.
Fantastic, thank you, Yvonne. Our next speaker is the chair of the Fife TUC, Ian Waddell.
Hello everyone, I'm Ian Waddell of Fife, Chair of Fife Trade Union Council, and I'm here today representing that Trade Union Council, the collective body for all the trade unions in Fife. We are also part of the Scottish Trade Union Congress, the STUC. The trade union movement has a long history of campaigning against injustice and oppression and for freedom and peace both in this country and across the world. In this context we have always opposed fascism with its racism and anti-Semitism, although no doubt some supporters of Israel will call us anti-Semitic because of our position over Palestine. We have also been involved in promoting other boycott and sanctions campaigns, for instance Chile and the anti-apartheid campaign over South Africa. With regard to Palestine, the STUC supports boycott, disinvestment and sanctions against the Israeli state. It supports the submission of the Palestine General Federation of Trade Unions, who call for a boycott of illegal settlement goods and those corporations benefiting from the occupation of the West Bank and the construction of the wall. This is a priority for the STUC for a number of reasons. The United Kingdom has a particular historical responsibility in the area from the Balfour Declaration onwards, and should play a positive role in fostering peace. But the UK does not play this role. It continues to have a military relationship with the Israeli state, as we can see here, and fails to argue in a consistent manner for the upholding of international law. In fact, I don't think it argues at all about international law as regards Israel. Because there is no effective action by the UK and others, the situation in Israel and Palestine has become normalised. Settlements which are illegal under international law are just described as settlements. In effect, they're invasions, occupations, whatever. And the separation wall is described as a security wall. We consider that the Israeli state can be pressured through a targeted boycott, disinvestment and sanctions campaign and the efforts of the international community to return to the negotiating table in pursuit of lasting peace, but only if pressure increases. This pressure must be political, economic and cultural. It must, as a priority, begin with the cessation of the sale of all military equipment to Israel. That is why this demonstration here today outside this plant, Raython, is so important. Earlier on I mentioned the anti-apartheid campaign over South Africa. 30 years ago, in 1984, who would have imagined that within 10 years there would be a black president who used to be called a terrorist in South Africa, and now in 2014 we would be looking back on 20 years of government by the ANC. A campaign of boycott and sanctions can bring freedom in Palestine as it did in South Africa. We must promote this campaign until we achieve a lasting settlement for the people of Palestine. Thank you very much. Difficult. This is too high, Bill.
20 years ago. Thank you, Ian. Next speaker is Susan Karim. Susan is an Iraqi citizen, but has come to settle here in Scotland. She's become a Scot, and she's a very active campaigner for peace and a very well-known name, Susan Karim.
Ten to 5, Susan Karim.
That was like climbing a mountain. As Bill has said, my name is Susan Karim. I introduce myself as an Iraqi-born Scot. Palestine is in my blood. I lived in Iraq and Palestine in our homes every single day. Went through all the wars and all the attacks on the occupied land, illegally occupied land. And we raised our flags and we demonstrated and we sent money and we sent support. And our boys, husbands, sons and brothers were killed in Palestine. Things have got a lot worse because of the policies of the West and America. It is so difficult now for the Arabic countries to send soldiers to defend the people of Gaza, to defend the people of Palestine. The weapons that get used to supply to the countries has been stopped because now most of it is going to Israel to slaughter our brothers and sisters, the innocent children, women, the innocent old people, and to occupy more land. This establishment at our doorsteps is one of those organizations that spills the blood of the Palestinian children, of the Palestinian women, of the Palestinian families, destroys their homes, poisons their crops, poisons their land, poisons their sheep, building everything just to wipe them off the face of the earth. The other speakers have spoken widely about what the history and what has been happening and examples. I'm not going to go through that way. You all know about that. I am preaching to the converted. However, we must demand from the Scottish government, from the British government, to implement policies to boycott and sanction Israel. And each one of us must do the best in their abilities, regardless of everything, to defend freedom and to defend justice. We must boycott establishments like this, companies, suppliers like the supermarkets. I've been to Morrison's and they have Israeli dates. and I cannot understand why they have to go and get Israeli aid. And I said to the manager, your gates are smothered and fed and fertilized by Palestinian blood, by Palestinian children's blood. And he didn't know what to say to me.
Well, it's still got half an hour, half 5.
We have to make sure that the MPs that we have elected, that they listen to us. Raytheon, shame on you! 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 Raytheon, shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! We must force change. We must force the change in the policies, the corporate policies. We must intercept the warmongers, the manufacturers who profit from the blood of innocent people. You are the best example. You must listen. The people have spoken. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Our last speaker before Dr. Bashir wraps up. Our last speaker is Marissa Yasmin. We lost her, but now we found her. She's a sheep that went astray and came back. I know I sound a little bit like you're at church, if you can remember the last time. Anyway, friends and comrades, Marissa Yasmin.
Oh, I haven't seen you for ages, yeah?
I have been very ill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to phone you up, but there's never any answer.
It's always cold calls, so I don't answer the phone. And by the time I get to the phone, the call is
Have you got an email?
I'm in a process of changing it. So
Do you know my email?
I know your email, yes.
Email me. I'd like to send you this, you know.
I need to go somebody's with it. So lovely to see you.
I'm here today because I'm a human being. Because I believe that we are all human beings and that we have the right to stand up against something that is truly terrible that's happening in Palestine just now. We are here today gathered together because we have a love of humanity. We have a love for children, for schools, for people to live and progress in their life, for people to have a future as we have just now today. But in Palestine, where my family originally come from, they have no future. And we have the right now to stand up and tell the world that this is wrong. We have the right today as human beings to tell the world that we are human and you have to stop killing human beings. It's not about religion, it's not about territory, it's not about where you're from or where you were born or the colour of your skin. It is about being a human. Do not kill other human beings. Do not take their life. Do not massacre them. Do not wash your hands in blood and think it's okay. Because us here in Glenrothes today, we are standing up against the brutality of other people, of Israelis, of anybody who kills another person. So, as a second generation refugee who lives in Kirkcaldy, who still has the keys to our home in Palestine, please support us as much as you can. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Viva, viva! Palestina! Viva, viva! Palestina! Viva, viva! Palestina! Thank you.
Guys, Dr. Bashir Oudeh is now going to come and he's going to wind this meeting up. There are things you can do. You can go on to Raytheon's website and Raytheon's social media. You can tell Raytheon what you think of them. You can tell Raytheon what you think of them manufacturing components to very precisely turn, they say, to turn a dumb bomb into a smart bomb. How can a bomb be smart? It's not smart, it's not big, it's not clever. There are many things we can do directly with Raytheon, as I said, through the website, through social media. We can campaign with our MSPs, our MPs, our councillors. Some of them are here today. There's more here than have spoken, there's other councillors here. You boycott Israeli goods. We write to the newspapers. and we let the world know that we are not with Israel, we are not with Raytheon. This is not in our name.
Brothers and sisters, friends, comrades, we are very proud of you. You are standing with human rights. That is very decent of you, and this is where we think most decent human beings would like to do. You are setting an example, and we can only ask you to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your relatives that what is going on now in Palestine can no longer be acceptable. We will no longer stay silent. Enough is enough. The Palestinians have had enough. It is time for them to go back to their homes. Enough. 66 years as refugees is way beyond humanly acceptable. 46 years of illegal occupation, of settlements, of bloodshed is again beyond the pale. And for the British government, which really is responsible historically for establishment of Israel, to look the other way is again not acceptable. Not in our name. And for us to be standing just at the gate of a factory that produces ingredients for weapons that kills Palestinian children